Welcome to the Tech for Good podcast. We are very passionate about two things, technology and our world. In each pod, we will be interviewing some fascinating people, business leaders, but those with a special interest in solving the biggest issues facing humanity today. Think the environment, think healthcare provision during a pandemic, think global social injustice. If you want to know more about technology's immense potential to fix and transform, then you're in the right place. In this episode, I speak to Janice Burns. Janice is Chief People Officer for Degreed, a company which has built an AI platform to supercharge employee learning and development. Organisations are doing more and more to improve the experience of their people. In the podcast, Janice talks about this subject in detail, Degreed's use of data and behavioural science, and the future of learning and development powered by tech. But first, I ask Janice why businesses should strive to upskill their employees.
Bringing employees into the business and having their skills improve over time is critical at this point in time in the world that we live in, primarily because of a number of factors that have changed the dynamics of work. You know, most people focus in on COVID as being a primary factor that's changed how we work. But actually, this trend towards needing to reskill started well before COVID. And I would say the digitalization of the workforce and of work has been a critical factor, and the changing social contract between employers and employees. The World Economic Forum put out some research before COVID, and they talked about the great skills revolution. And now I think they're calling it the skills reskilling emergency. And they predict that by 2030, 1/3 of employees will need to be completely reskilled, because jobs won't be the same. There will be new jobs that don't exist today. The type of skills that you need to do those jobs will be very different. And therefore, the reskilling needs to begin immediately. We also know that for employees to feel a sense of connection to their employer, career development has become critically important, and skill development is highly correlated to career development. In Degreed's most recent state of skills research that we did last year, I think we saw that 49% of employees said that they would be more likely to leave an employer that did not invest in their career development. And then finally, besides the fact that you need skill building to help companies continue to thrive and people continue to thrive within their careers, their performance in their careers, we actually know that this concern about not being employable, not having the skills that you need to do your job, actually impacts your mental and emotional health. And so if you think about skill building, it's not just a business need, it's a social need as well.
Definitely, yeah. It's such a vast kind of challenge, isn't it? This, Janice. You mentioned your company there, Degreed. Maybe tell the listener what Degreed does.
So, Degreed is a learning and upskilling platform that is used by hundreds of innovative companies around the world. Some of the biggest companies on the Fortune 500 list. And It's a platform that these employers use to connect employees' learning and various forms of learning to upskilling activities, um, and they connect that to on the job development and experiences, and also to people, whether it's experts or mentors. So that gives them exposure to people so that they can develop and grow holistically. I was a client of Degree before joining Degreed, and I have to tell you, it revolutionized how we at Mastercard, which is the company I was the chief learning officer for before joining Degreed, it revolutionized how we changed the whole learning ecosystem within the company. But more importantly, it helped to democratize learning because when a company is primarily dependent on face to face, in person learning, you can't afford to provide learning to every single employee, especially if you're dispersed around the globe. However, when you have a platform that puts learning in the hands of the employee, then it allows you and it enables you to really democratize learning because people can learn wherever they are, when they want to learn, how they want to learn, and with people that they want to learn with. And so it just really changes the whole landscape of learning, especially in a work environment.
And I guess Janice, having used the degreed software while at Mastercard, that obviously puts you in a big advantage now, and gives you real insights into what your customers need. Now you're part of the company as well. Maybe tell us a bit about, from the customer perspective, how the technology works, how Degreed's approach works. Like, why is it so successful, do you think?
Yeah, I think the technology is successful and different because it was really the first of its kind to think about learning as an experience versus an administrative task. In companies, whether they're corporations or other type of workforce organizations, up until the time that we created the category called the learning experience platform, there were platforms that mostly administered um, required learning, whether it was compliance training or mandatory training, but there was no experience associated with learning. And our technology puts learning in the hands of the employee so that it helps an organization and an employee curate their own learning, learn in different mediums, whether that is articles, that's courses, that's videos, that's podcasts. You really can access any type of learning. But as I said, that experience that we are helping you access and capture also helps us to generate intelligence on the skills that employees are learning, the skills that an organization needs in order for them to execute on their strategy, and the skills that they have. And that intelligence also helps you to measure the progression of those skills, both at the individual level and at the organizational level. So it's a pretty powerful platform that obviously I'm excited about and our company is very excited about.
And at the center of that platform, Janice, is the use of data science and behavioral science as well, as you said there, to really understand the needs of your users, right?
Yeah, it's it is very science based and it's using artificial intelligence to really look at the learning behaviors of our users, being employees at other companies. And it allows that artificial intelligence not only allows us to see what people are learning, but it also allows us to make inferences that help us to identify skills. So whether it is taking data from someone's resume that they upload, or articles and content that they're engaging in, we can infer the skills that they're building, and based on their profile that they create, infer the skills that they may need so that we can continue to offer up learning options to them to continue to grow and progress on their skills journey.
Good stuff, Janice. I'm going to talk a bit more about your role in all of this as well. But listening to you talk there must be some, it must be really fulfilling to see how this technology and how your company can help people ultimately, progress in their careers and progress in their lives.
Yeah, so the thing that I guess I am so passionate about Degreed, and I often tell the story that when I became a client of Degreed, obviously I was impressed by the platform and its ability to change learning in the corporate environment. But I was more connected to the overarching mission of the company, which is really this thought that learning is something that can really change and provide a better future for all, a better future for organizations by helping them to build the capabilities that they need, a better future for business in general by facilitating learning that helps with innovation, but most importantly, a better future for individuals. Individuals who, through learning, can really create more career elasticity and economic um, sustainability, which drives their prosperity. At the end of the day, we're about doing good and about uplifting the human and about eliminating some of the obstacles that prevent people from thriving economically and developmentally. And there are a number of things that are critical to economic sustainability at a personal level. Learning and skill building is one of those fundamental things. And so I just feel this great passion that knowing that the platform that we have and the way that we interact with companies who are using it, we are providing a better future, not only for their companies, but a better future for the individuals that are leveraging the platform.
Hi, I'm Daniel Brigham, editor of the Tech for Good magazine. I hope you're enjoying this pod, and if you want more, why not head over to techforgood.net for some amazing and thought-provoking stories. You can read about one company's mission to use digital technologies in the fight against HIV, or learn how social media can help refugees take control of their narratives. For those insights and more, read and subscribe at techforgood.net.
And I guess, Janice, now that you're working for the company, you can pursue that passion in your day-to-day, job. Talk a bit about your specific role at Degreed.
Yes, so my role at Degreed is that of the Chief People Officer. And for me, what that means is my job is to create the conditions for our business and people to thrive. And in creating those conditions, we have to think about the environment that we create for them. We have to think about how our policies and practices enable people to grow and develop, not only from a career perspective, but from a performance enablement perspective. And we have to think about people's well-being. As the head of people, what's always important to us is that we are living our values, right? And our values, we call them the 4 C's. And the 4 C's are courage, connectivity, commitment, and care. And it's the courage really to fulfill our mission, right? If you think about creating a world where learning and education is accessible to all, that takes a lot of courage because there are a lot of obstacles that get in the way of doing that. It's about being committed to our not only our mission, to the fulfillment of our strategy, and it's a commitment of both mind, heart, and spirit. Um, it's about connectivity and how we stay connected to our employees inside of Degree, our clients outside of Degree, but most importantly, their employees as well. And it's also about care. How do we care for each other? How do we care for the communities that we work and live in? And we spend a lot of time, we actually give our employees 4 dedicated days a year, once a quarter, to spend the day in something that gives back to their community. We call it Good Deeds Day. So care is a critical component of the work that we do, which I think you can tell in how I describe our mission and our purpose as an organization.
Yeah, and I guess it's interesting, isn't it, Janice, when your company exists to provide technology to other companies to help their employees, that it's really important that with your own employees are demonstrating and kind of leading the way in that regard.
Yeah, and it's important not only that we're leading the way in terms of, as I said, the values, it's important that we're leading the way in always ensuring that our own employees are developing, right? That we are living what we preach in terms of the importance of development and integrating development in everything that we do. We just um, introduced a new, what I call it, performance and career alignment process that really is very personalized and forward looking. And it's all about how a people leader can engage directly with his, her, or their employees to create plans that help them to develop not only from a career perspective, but really develop from a performance perspective as well. And so as I said, I am thrilled to be in a position where every day I can live my purpose. And I know that I'm giving back to the people in my organization, but I'm giving back to people that I may not see and I may not physically touch, but through our technology, we know that we're touching and we're changing their life.
Great stuff, Janice. I want to talk a bit about your own career now as well. You talk about your purpose there. I'm sure your values and your purpose has been built up over many years. You spent nearly 3 decades at Mastercard. Tell us a bit about that experience, how you feel like you've developed as a person over those years, and how that has kind of led to where you are today.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've had a very diverse background, and um, over the years, keep coming back to this core belief that education really is what fuels people's future. So, my first job out of college was that of an elementary school teacher in Harlem, and being 22 years old and not really being prepared to have the lives of 30 something individuals in my care made me realize the importance of both the teacher and of education, because I was in an area that really was pretty depressed and deprived of economic opportunity. And so, for a lot of those kids, the only way that they were going to have a brighter future was through education. And that really touched me and left a mark on me. And when I entered corporate America, in the product management area and was very successful in product management. The thing that I think product management taught me was how to really think about that end user and how to think about their journey and creating experiences for them. And so when I made the decision that to be fulfilled in my career, I had to do something where my legacy was about enabling employees. I took that learning from my product management days and in all of my jobs in HR, whether it was heading up diversity and inclusion or being an HR business partner or heading up talent acquisition um, or learning and development, that thought about how does the work that I do create experiences for people so that they are better at the end of that engagement in the work that I'm doing than they were before, kind of carried through because, with kids, when you're teaching them, you definitely can see have they progressed from the beginning of the year to the end of the year? Are they in a better place than they were when they came to you? And I think that same way about employees, whether they're people on my team or people in the company, are they better for the interactions that they've had with me than they were before? Um, and that carries over into how I think about my role today. One of the things that I say to our employees is the measure of success is if your market value on December 31st is higher than your market value was on January 1st of that year because of the experiences that you've had, because of the development and growth that you've had, because of the confidence that you've gained in yourself based on the journey that you've taken with us here at Degreed or the journey you've taken with me as an employee in my care. And as long as I feel like I'm a better person at the end of the year and I'm helping other people be better, then I feel like I am fulfilling my purpose from a career perspective.
That's amazing, and I'm guessing, Janice, it's that focus on very simply on your people and seeing their journeys as individuals that is keeping you passionate about this.
Yeah, it is. It's believing that I still can make a difference in someone's life, but more importantly, that I can make a difference in many people's lives, right? That I have been blessed and given the grace to be in a position where I can influence um, policies, practices, procedures, but I've also been given the opportunity to have a voice where I can reach a lot of people. And, whether that's in mentoring people, whether that is in motivating people, whether that is in exposing them to our platform, the fact that I can continue to touch people in a way that helps them to better themselves and to continue to thrive is what motivates me because, again, I think that is my purpose. And I am fortunate enough to be in a role where I can live that purpose every day.
And how exciting is it, Janice, ultimately to have these new tools and these new technologies at your fingertips that are going to enable even greater change and even greater purpose in this area? That must be a really exciting thing for you, having been in the industry.
Yeah, it is. It is so exciting. Learning today looks nothing like it did when I entered the workforce, and it looks nothing like it did even 5 years ago. And although there are many horrible things that have come from COVID, one of the wonderful gifts that COVID actually gave us is people investing more in technologies that help people to learn, develop, grow, and connect to each other. And so all of the digital technologies, behavioral technologies that come together in these learning platforms, and especially within our platform, really opens up opportunities that never existed. And it gives me a level of ex- excitement. Um, it is inspiring and it helps you to dream bigger than you were able to dream before. about your ability to, as I said, impact people's lives.
That was the Tech for Good podcast. Listen, subscribe, and rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher.